All right, here we go. Welcome back to the Game Smash podcast. As always, I'm your host, William Liberty, and with me is.
Fawaz Muhammad Yusuf.
And today we got some stuff. We've got an older story about modded controllers in tournaments. We've got a new Street Fighter character, Ed. We've got Microsoft confirms Halo 6 will not be at E3. We've got Vanquish and Bayonetta ported to the PC. And then we've got Overwatch Anniversary event confirmed. And before we get into that, let's talk about what we played this week. I didn't really play that much. I continued trucking through Persona. And what I did actually do this week was I went to Ottawa Comic Con. So, had a lot of fun there. Spent a little bit too much money on stuff that I shouldn't have bought.
Ooh, Ottawa Comic Con.
Yeah. I ended up getting a pretty cool Samus figure, so I was pretty happy about that.
Okay.
Right now, I'm doing the deep dive, because what's happening is that I have a friend who's getting me back into Magic. So I am slowly looking at building a new deck. Maybe I might try and do some more drafts. Because because the thing is that recently I was talking to my friend about this, and the biggest problem I have is that, so there's 3 games that I can play with my friends that aren't video games, right? There's X-Wing, right, which is the miniature game. There's Warhammer, and then there's Magic the Gathering, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now the thing is that Magic the Gathering is the easiest to just set up and play. You bring your deck of cards, you sit down at the table, you're good to go. X-Wing is a little more time consuming to set up, but it's not nearly as difficult. And the games they last about 30 minutes at tops. Okay. So that's not that bad. Warhammer is the one that takes the longest to set up. Warhammer, it takes at least about 45 minutes to set everything up, and it takes usually about 2 hours to 3 for a game to complete.
Okay.
And usually when I played with my friend, I would usually just we'd get to turn 4, and then we just say, all right, let's just roll it. Let's see who's got the clear lead at this moment, and if it's just looking like there's no chance, we'll just end at turn 4 instead of ending at turn 5. Because there's games like that where it's like I have 6 points, you have 1. You don't even have a chance of making the comeback. But yeah, so that's why I'm slowly starting to get back into Magic, is because it's a very nice, just set up and play kind of game. But yeah, no, Ottawa Comic Con was fun, and I was really happy because I brought my Switch with me, so the wait to get inside the building wasn't difficult. It was just I played a shit ton of Binding of Isaac, so.
So you were that nerd.
I was that nerd who was sitting in line with my Switch. Although I wasn't the only person with a Switch there. There were I saw several other people who also had Switches. They were playing Mario Kart, but I don't have that yet. But that's really all I played this week for the most part. What about you, Fawaz?
Okay, well, before we move away, what kind of deck are you planning on building in Magic?
For me right now, I'm thinking of building a white-black zombie deck. Because apparently in the new set is very Egyptian themed.
Oh.
And there's a lot of new zombie cards that are pretty interesting. Like I got one that it's a 2 mana 2-drop, and whenever an opponent kills a zombie, they kills one of your zombies, they lose 2 life.
Oh, okay.
So it's like you summon a bunch of zombie tokens, and then they kill them, they lose 2 life, and then you resurrect them with some other cards, and then you can keep the combo going that way. So it's like, even if they're killing your zombies, they're actually just dealing more damage to themselves and stuff like that.
That's an interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, yeah. I was a big fan of the multicolor decks in the Duels of the Planeswalkers. I used to play the Dragon deck, so it was black, green, and red. Mm-hmm. And then, but the main deck that I really liked was the 5-color deck.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pain in the ass to play, but it was so much fun.
Well, that's the thing is that I usually I'll play dual color or mono colored. Mostly the reason that I end up doing mono a lot is just because I don't have the lands. I don't have the special lands that allow me to fetch for specific lands.
Ah,
I
yeah,
don't
you
have the
can't
I don't
do
have
that.
I don't have the fetch lands that I need to do like tricolor or four color or something like that.
Okay.
So I usually end up just playing mono. So that it's like, okay, look, all I have to do is get a land and I'm good. I don't have to worry about getting a very specific type of land.
Yeah, that
Um, but
makes sense.
but
That makes sense.
that does limit what kind of combos I can get. Um, which is a bit of a shame. But I don't know. I'm getting back into it, and it's a lot of fun. And I bought a bunch of human cards too because I have a really good human deck.
Okay. And one last thing, if you're interested, that they play Magic at Algonquin. I don't know what days. I can find the exact day, but yeah, they play Magic at Algonquin.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I
Yeah.
might jump off because, like, honestly, I was talking to the guy. I played. I brought my deck to Comic Con, right? And there was a place where you could play other people, right?
Uh-huh.
And there was this one guy I was playing against, and I was talking to him about how like I don't like necessarily going to the Wizard's Tower near my place because they are very, very serious. Where they're like, I have to cut your deck. I'm gonna shuffle your deck. They'll be like, they're always like rule checking, or like it's basically like they take the game very, very seriously, and it's like I'm just there to have fun. Like,
Yeah.
and that's sort of like if I could find a different place. So maybe if the college is a lot better, then
I think the color's pretty chill. A lot of my friends play and they don't take anything seriously. So.
all right, good to know. But yeah, no, that's what I've been. That's basically what I've been playing this week. Getting back into Magic and other things. But yeah, how about you, Fawaz? What have you been up to?
Okay, so obviously I played some Persona 5. I finished the dungeon. I got into the second dungeon, and I think I'm almost done with the
Nice.
second dungeon. I'd say I'm about 60, maybe 70% of the way in. I got the new character. He's pretty cool. Fox is his code
His
name,
code name, yeah.
and he seems like Chi in the sense that he's a very um he's because his melee attacks do a lot of damage.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he has only one ice ability right now, so he doesn't seem like he's going to be much of a caster. So
Yeah, no. Because you know who he reminds me actually a lot of? He reminds me of Akihiko from Persona 3.
mm,
Except instead of because Akihiko was lightning and really good physical attacks,
yeah,
and Fox is like that as well.
okay,
He's got a couple of really good he's got a couple of elemental abilities, but he's really good with physical attacks.
yeah,
And his crit rate is amazing.
okay. So yeah, it's gonna be a toss up between him and Ryuji because Ryuji seems like he's lightning and physical attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't want to like physical attack because like I was gonna call him Teddy. Morgana's the only like healer. Like
Mm-hmm.
what's her name can heal, but Morgana has media already. So
Yeah.
so Morgana's like my main healer. So I'm not replacing him until I find another actual healer. And then crap, what's her name? The chick, long legs, ponytails.
Oh, Anne.
And yeah, Anne's like the primary, like the DPS spellcaster.
Yeah.
She's learned like a lot of abilities already. She has a lot of utility. She can reduce an enemy's attack. She can put them to sleep. She was the first person to learn an elemental ability that targets multiple
Mm-hmm.
people. So she's not going anywhere. So and obviously I'm not removing the main character.
Wouldn't that be hilarious? I
So
mean, to
yeah,
be fair, that was my favorite thing about Final Fantasy X was like, God, Titus sucks. He's not gonna be my main team at all. So I would end up using like Oron, Kamari, and Lulu all the time.
That's funny. So yeah, right now I'm just messing around, like honestly I'm not even trying to like min max with this playthrough. I'm just having fun. I'm making the decisions that I would make. Then
Yeah.
for my second playthrough, that's when I'm going to focus on min maxing, focus on doing like my proper focus on like trophies, maxing out all my S links and all that stuff. So yeah, right now I'm just messing around. I'm trying to see what and then one cool thing is that because of there's this social link that you get that lets people who aren't in parties gain experience.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm definitely because like in Persona 4, I had my four.
Hmm.
I think my four were Chie, Yukiko, and Kanji. Well, my three. Well, Chie, Yukiko, and Kanji. I think those were my three.
Hmm.
So I didn't really mess with anybody else. I didn't touch Naoto at all, which sucks because Naoto had a lot of really cool abilities. But yeah, in this game, I think I'm gonna try to experiment with just about everyone since other people level up even when they aren't in your party. Because that was the issue I kept running into was I try to mess
Hmm.
with like Naoto and I'll bring her with me, but she's like level 10 and everybody else is level 70, right? So
Yeah.
it was always weird and difficult for her. I don't know if you died, you still get experience. I don't think you do.
I don't think you do if you die, unfortunately. But
Yeah,
I know that basically, yeah, that particular S link you want to try and max out because not only does it allow you to your party members in the back line to gain experience, it also allows you to gain extra experience just overall. So
hmm,
it's a really good S link to max out for sure.
yeah. It doesn't seem like a difficult one to max out either. You don't have to spend time with him. You just gotta go into the little mementos thing.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna be working on that S Link. But yeah, fun stuff. Other than that, I played Xrd, not Xrd R. I went because okay, so I'm trying to learn Ramlethal, right?
Right. Okay.
Ramlethal is the chick with the two swords. Funny story about Ramlethal.
Hmm. Hmm.
So and also screw you because now I would notice when I say funny story. So
I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything.
I could hear your smug smile
No, no, I'm
stamp
not. I'm
that.
not. Floss. This is serious business. All right. You know.
But yeah, so funny story about Ram, right? So Ram she was revealed after the arcade. She was revealed when the game hit arcade. She's like the first boss of the game, and then they released like the poster and everything. And then someone says in the so okay, and then someone says in the comment section they're like, "Oh
Yeah.
my god, it's always nice to see more black characters in the game." And I was like, "Black characters?" And okay, so funny thing is that because I've been playing Guilty Gear for like 15 years now.
Right.
When I first played the game, I played Potemkin and I didn't play Venom, but I knew of Venom, right?
Right.
And I
Right.
looked at them and I just, because they don't have like black features. Venom has long white hair, for God's sake. So I didn't really
Yeah.
think of them as like black. I just thought they were characters with dark skin.
Right.
Because you know how animes are. Everyone looks the same. It's just the tone of your skin that changes.
Yeah.
So anyway, when Ram got announced, and this dude was like, "Oh yeah, Ram's black," and I was like, "Ram's black," and I was like, "Wait a minute, Potemkin's black, Venom's black, what?" So it was like a moment of revelation for me. But yeah, so I've been trying to learn Ram Lethal for a while, not because she's black, but because I thought she was cool.
Just
But
cool
I just
character.
thought
Yeah.
that was a funny story.
I mean,
She's
to be
really
fair,
difficult.
like you not knowing that Potenkin's black. I mean, like, how are you supposed to know? He's head to toe in armor.
I mean, to be fair, in the old game he wasn't.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, in the old game he didn't wear armor. He had like a collar. And then he had these two gauntlets, but that was it. You could see like his full skin, and he had like a ponytail. It's like how many black people do you know with ponytails, right? So this stuff always threw me up. And then like I didn't even think of him as human because he didn't have pupils, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, like you can understand why I would make this mistake. But yeah, in the new game, you only ever see Potemkin's face when he gets hit with what's his name, Faust, because Faust has this one move where he like goes behind you and he pokes you in the butt.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he does that move, every character has a specific expression. It's generally not a pleasant one. And yeah,
Right.
Potemkin, his helmet flies off his head and you see him screaming. So that's the only time that you can actually see his face in this game. But I digress. So I've been trying to learn Ramlethal, and she's because I'm trying to learn her combos and I don't know what her combos are. I went back to Guilty Gear because I went back
Hmm.
to Xrd because Xrd because Rev 2 doesn't have the combo mode yet. We'll get that in a few weeks when the game launches. Because the demo doesn't have the combo mode. I went back to Rev, and I've just been practicing her combos. She's fun.
Mm-hmm.
She's fun. She's really difficult. Like because I don't know how to explain this without getting too in depth. She's just difficult. She has a lot of difficult combos, and I've just been practicing her. But it's been fun. I've been doing her trials, and even though it takes me a while, I'm seeing progress, which is really all that matters to me. What pisses me off is when I'm practicing something for like 4 hours, and then at the end of the 4 hours, I feel just as bad at it as I was at the beginning, right? So I feel like I've been wasting my time. But yeah, Ramlethal Valentine, Elfel's sister, actually.
Didn't know.
Yeah. For those interested in lore, Elfeld, Ramlethal, and Jacko, the three of them are sisters.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could see the resemblance between Jacko and her Elfie.
Oh, but you don't see the resemblance between Elfeld and Ramlethal.
Yes. I'm not gonna lie. I'm thinking of Ramlethal, and I'm starting to draw a blank. So I'm googling the Ram.
Yeah, just Google Ramlethal. She's the chick. She has like the two giant swords. I always liked her design. Like from day one when they announced her, I thought her design was really cool. She's got like two gigantic samurai swords that she uses, and she can like deploy them. Her main thing, like her game plan, because like her corner game is insane. She's got like a bunch, because like she can like set up the swords and then do crazy mix-ups on you in the corner, which like I love me some mix-ups. But like so you have to learn the combos. Cause all her combos, most of her combos can corner carry, right? Because like mid-screen she's not very good, but in the corner she's insane. So you want to make sure that every hit you get, you're carrying your opponent all the way to the corner. So I'm trying to learn her corner combos, and like dropping combos with her is really really bad because like you want the setup in the corner. But yeah, I've just been practicing my Ramlethal. Have you been playing the demo at all? I'm assuming not, because there's not a whole lot for you to really.
Well, I mean, like I played the demo and I practiced a bunch, and I honestly, because I think the fact that when I realized that it was like, oh yeah, that's right, I can't play with Fawaz and there's no story mode. I mean, I can play arcade, but I just kind of went, well, you know what, maybe what I'm actually thinking of doing. I think I might end up just picking up this game, like,
okay,
because I'm thinking like, you know what, at the very least because I like the fact that can be the game that it's like, hey, if we're having a rough day with Overwatch, Fawaz can just destroy me in Guilty Gear, and that'll at least that way he won't be like, man, I gotta go. So that might be a fun thing to do, but
okay. Well, I hope you do. I hope you do. It's always nice to have somebody else to play with, and like I said, there's a very 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 good player in Ottawa. So yeah, if you pick up the game, I play with him online all the time. So if you pick the game up, you'll have a nice what's this thing called? You have a nice reference to help you get better and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much what I played this week. Just looking forward to the new Guilty Gear. I'm actually, it's funny. I was like, I was always going to buy it, but I don't know why. I just got like extra excited about it because I haven't really been playing Guilty Gear that much. I play it, but I've been practicing it because like with Elfeld, I'm not like perfect with her.
Right.
But I have the basics down, so I don't have to practice as much with her anymore. But then, hitting the training mode with Ram and just having to learn all this new stuff, I guess it lit a fire under my ass, and I'm excited. I'm excited for the game to launch next week. Is it?
I think so. I think it's relatively soon. You know what? I'll know if the demo gets deleted from my library, because I know that the demo will no longer exist when the full game comes out.
Really?
Yeah.
They removed the demo when the full game launches. You see, it's funny. I never noticed because I've always bought.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, that does kind of make sense. Like, it's just like, hey, look, like, everyone got to try it out for free. They might have a different demo available at some point, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay, so it's the 26th. So
26th.
Not next week. The week after.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm excited, looking forward to it. No, actually, it's next week, but next week Friday. There we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get into some news.
Yeah, well, we got a little bit of an older story, and it's pretty interesting overall. So this is basically a situation in which a very high level Smash player named Armada, he went to go and enter a tournament, and the thing is that Armada uses a special controller that has a defect essentially. It's a factory defect that allows him to use certain techniques that only heightened level melee players can use. And essentially, he didn't have his backups. He tried to use it, and it didn't work the way he wanted, so he ended up quitting the tournament. Now, this led to a lot of discussion of whether or not modded controllers are technically something that players shouldn't be able to use in general, or like why didn't he just stay and use a regular controller? And it's an interesting discussion because I find it very, because it's not like sports, like in sports, you have your soccer ball, right? And no one's gonna bring their own modded soccer ball to the official game.
Don't tell that to Tom Brady.
Yeah, I mean, um,
Oh no.
but but it's very interesting where it's like modded controllers in the fighting game industry is sorry, in the fighting game like tournament scene is not exactly uncommon, but I feel like there is sort of like this gray area, at least for some circumstances, depending on what techniques people can use and what tech like it's not just like the feel of the controller. It's flat out like there are certain techniques that this controller can do that are almost impossible with a normal controller. So I'm very very interested to see what your opinion on this is overall.
Okay, so it's weird because yeah, like you're saying, it's modding controllers is not it's nothing new in fighting games, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, when you so for example with what are these things called, hitboxes? I don't know if you've ever seen a hitbox.
Yeah, I have.
Okay, so yeah, with hitboxes, you okay, so the risk you run if you allow modded controllers is that you allow cheating, like
Yeah.
just straight up. That was the issue that Counter Strike had to deal with, right? Because you could bring in your mice, mice,
Yeah.
because you could bring in your mice. People would just put what are these things called, aimbots into their mouse, and then they could just cheat like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now, fighting games have never there's never been a high profile issue with cheating, which is actually surprising when you when you think about it. And I think part of it might just be because of the nature of fighting games.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mean, but no, like you don't. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my train of thoughts. Yes, so far so good. We haven't had any issues with modding, but all it takes is that one person to get caught,
Right.
for everybody to be like, oh shit, we've got to regulate this better, because I think you can program. Okay, yeah, that I think what people get, the reason why it's not that big of a deal is because you can't really program combos into your controller.
Right.
Because we're not playing on like computers and stuff like that, it's very difficult for you to cheat through controllers. And then if it's difficult to cheat, until people on, I guess what I'm saying, I guess my language way of saying that we should let's assume everyone is innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
We've been having competitive fighting game tournaments for decades now, and we still haven't had any issues with it. So I guess until we do, let's not look for a problem where there isn't one.
Yeah, I guess I can see that perspective for sure. I don't know. I guess for me, it's kind of like, from my perspective, the way that the story is described is that he couldn't use his modded controller, right, and he just quit the tournament, right.
Yeah.
And from my perspective, I'm like, well, couldn't you have just used a regular controller? Like,
Apparently, it's difficult because and this is the beauty of older fighting games, right?
mhm,
So, and then especially a fighting game like this that wasn't designed to be competitive. So part of the reason a lot of pros in Smash use modded controllers is because there are some techniques that are difficult to. There are bugs in the game that you're not getting patched. Let's be honest with ourselves here.
Yeah.
Right? So there are some bugs in the game that there are some bugs in the game that require malfunctioning controllers, which is why people mod their controllers to malfunction. There are some bugs in the game that require malfunctioning controllers to let you do. So the example in the article was like backdashes. Apparently, it's difficult to do backdashes normally, and backdashes are really important. So that's why people mod their controllers to make it easier to backdash. So I am guessing that there are multiple instances of stuff like that, which is why it was very difficult. It just wasn't possible for him to just use a different controller. This isn't a situation where he modded the controller just to like make things comfortable. It's actually difficult.
Well, the problem I have with that is that like he's bringing his mod controller. What if his opponent doesn't have a modded controller? Like, his opponent doesn't have a modded controller, which means his opponent doesn't have the ability to do that. Because you have to understand that these modded controllers, not everyone in these tournaments, it's not like everyone shows up to these tournaments with these modded controllers.
Yeah.
Most people, like 95% of the people who join these tournaments, are just using their regular controllers. So the thing where I'm getting a little bit of a bad vibe from this is that, like, doesn't that mean that your opponent technically doesn't have the ability to do this with ease? You know what I mean? That's where I'm starting to see the bit of a gray area with this. And like I don't know.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Unfortunately, me not being a Smash player, I don't know. I don't know enough. I don't know
Right.
enough about this to be able to say like for sure,
Mm-hmm.
but to be able to say one way or another for sure. But like for me, the way I see it, it's what I read in the article was that a lot of players use motor controllers for this reason. That there's just a lot of complex techniques that you can't do normally in the game. So the impression I got was that a vast majority of the people do play with modern controllers, and the bigger issue here was that he didn't have extras, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough to say. It's tough to say because I'm not a Smash player. I don't know how prevalent this is. I know in like regular fighting games, you can just like switch. You can just use someone else's controller, unless we're talking about hitboxes here. In which case, you can just use someone else's hitbox, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, sure, there'll be like minor stuff, like certain controllers. For example, one of my friends, Ben, his stick is stiff. It is so unbelievably stiff. So like when I like borrow it for a match, it's just difficult. I drop inputs all the time. So there's minor stuff like that. Then he on the other hand, he's like that he can't use other people's controllers because they're so loose, and he's used to playing on like a really stiff controller. So he's used to putting extra effort into every move he does, but then that extra effort makes him like drop moves when he uses a normal stick.
Right. Yeah.
So there's kind of stuff like that that you run into in a fighting game, but nothing serious. No one has ever dropped out of a tournament because they didn't have a stick. People have complained. They've complained after they've lost, but no one's ever dropped out of a tournament because they didn't have their stick. So yeah, like it's difficult for me to relate to this. So I can only base it on what I read in the article, and the impression I've gotten is that this modding stuff is actually very important for Smash games. So I'm gonna give this guy the benefit of the doubt, especially since he's apparently one of the better Smash players. So I'm like that if there was an opportunity for him to still play, I think he would have. And I feel like if there was an opportunity for him to still play, right, I feel like he would have. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and assume that, yeah, it's just like there's a lot of complex maneuvers that he simply couldn't do on a regular controller.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess to a certain extent, like, yeah, like he there's certain moves obviously he can't do. I guess for me, it's more I'm thinking of this from like a different perspective, where I'm like, if the fact that this guy should have had backups, period. Like
He should have had backups.
the fact that he has to have this very specific setup to play the game the way he wants. The fact that he didn't have backups, I think, is silly.
Yeah.
And like, I think the thing that annoys me a little bit about this is that like, why is it that like I don't understand how like he feels like, okay, well, I'm gonna quit because I don't have this special modded controller, and I feel like, well, what about everyone else? What about other people who don't have even access to these modded controllers? And it's like, well, I wish I could backdash, but I can't. So I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a moral gray area for me. So it's like I do understand where he's certainly coming from, but at the same time, part of me does feel that like he should. I feel like he could have probably stayed in the tournament and just used a normal controller like everyone else. Because I think the other thing that the story doesn't really fully explain is that this is not like a 30% amount of players use modded controllers. This is like a very small 5% of players use modded controllers. So I don't know. It's a moral gray area for sure, but very interesting nonetheless. And
Yeah.
it does tie in to our fighting game news, which is
Yeah. What's even more interesting is that Capcom just revealed the brand new character, Ed. He was in the story mode. He was I don't know if you played the story mode of Street Fighter V, but he's this dude with a hoodie. He's like Balrog's apprentice.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they revealed him for the game. He's gotten a lot bigger. People were disappointed. Because in the story mode he's a smaller dude, and now he's been hitting the gym and the steroids, and he's gotten quite big. However, his playstyle looks pretty interesting. So here's the thing with him is that his moves are all simple inputs. So for example, he has a move that's like 2 punches, a move that's 2 kicks. Mm-hmm. He has a move that's like down and punch, I think. So all his special moves are simple inputs. His gameplay looks interesting. The trailer looked pretty fun. In terms of moves, he looks like a rushdown character. He has a projectile, but it's a slow one. He does like one move where he throws the projectile into the air, and he does a second motion where he punches it and throws it towards you. Mm-hmm. So it's a really slow projectile. I can't imagine you'll be using it for zoning. It looks more like a pressure tool plus combo filler. His V skill, he like uses his cycle power to pull you. He does like a little projectile thing on his palm. In the video they showed, he was using it to like cancel reuse fireballs.
Yeah.
You don't build any V gauge by doing that, but he was using it to like cancel reuse fireballs. Then when he got within range, he used it to pull Ryu towards him, and that built him a ton of V gauge. So that's his thing. He can use it to pull people in, and then he can also use it for combo filler. Then his V trigger is where things get very interesting. I've complained about install V triggers, and I'm glad they're moving away from them. With him, he makes a giant ball, and then he like pushes that forward. Then that's his V trigger. So the cool thing about this is that it offers multiple uses, right? Which is why I like these types of V triggers versus just the install. Oh, I'm doing more damage. V triggers. So first of all, you can just use this to move in, because I'm pretty certain he's going to be a rushdown character.
Yeah.
So you activate it and you move in behind it, and it just nullifies fireballs, right? Mm-hmm. But then the flip side is that you can like use it you can like use it for mix-ups, right? Mm-hmm. So you make them block it, and then you just go ham. You just go ham because it puts them in block stun. And so those are the two things that I'm thinking.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I think he looks like a good addition. And honestly, when you say simpler inputs, I'm like, yes, I love simpler inputs. Because I'm a noob.
It looks cool. They're having a beta right now where you can actually try him out. There's an open beta. You can try him and all the other characters out. You can try out the new Capcom Fighting Network. Unfortunately, I actually can't download Street Fighter 5. It's weird. I went to the you know how you have your library where you can re-download old games?
Yeah.
So yeah, I tried to re-download it, but the download button isn't showing up, and it's partly because I downloaded the story mode. So the only thing that's showing up is the story, And it's something that I'm sure I could figure out if I put more time in.
Yeah.
But like I already have a love-hate relationship with Street Fighter Five, so it's one of those things where I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's
This
kind of like it's like if it's already this much trouble to try and reset everything up, I don't think it's yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, all right, well, you obviously don't want me to play you, so I won't play you.
This never ends. The story never ends.
The saga of Street Fighter Five. Yeah.
uh,
But overall, Ed looks pretty cool. I can't like when I saw his design, I wasn't disgusted like most people, but I wasn't impressed either. He just looked but his
yeah,
playstyle
I
was
kind of
very
felt it was a little bit in the middle ground. Like it was like okay, that's a design. Like I wasn't like my socks weren't getting knocked off or anything like that. I do kind of like his hat though.
yeah. Yeah. Um but Ed, he looks pretty cool. What's even cooler is that Microsoft just announced that for E3, Halo 6 won't be at E3, which I thought was very interesting because personally I've always felt like Microsoft leaned way too heavily on Halo, especially during the Xbox 360 era. They leaned far too heavily on it. It's funny. I did the math, and so Halo 1 came out in 2000 and shit. One sec. One
2000
sec.
and
Let's see.
shit.
One sec.
Yes.
One sec. One
Yeah,
sec.
didn't it
Where's
come out around 2000 something? One?
Oh, there we go. I found it. So Halo came out in 2001, right?
Yep.
Halo 2 came out in 2004.
Yeah.
3 years. Halo 3 came out in 2007.
Seven.
3 years, right?
Yeah.
Halo ODST comes out 2009. 2 years. That's fine. Halo Reach 2010. Halo Anniversary Edition 2011. Halo 4 2012. Halo Spartan Assault. I don't even know what that is.
That's the top down one. It's shit.
Okay, so we're not gonna count that. So let's ignore. So Halo Master Chief Collection 2014, Halo 5 2015. So for me, like the game launched, and then between Halo 1 and Halo 3, it was taking 3 years in between games,
Yeah.
and then from Halo 3 down to Halo 5. Okay, there was a 2 year gap between Halo 3 and ODST, and then
Yeah.
from ODST in 2009 to Halo 5 in 2015. They didn't take a single year off except for, the Spartan Assault in 2013.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad that first of all, after Halo 5 in 2015, no Halo in 2016, no Halo in 2017, and then they're not even going to be announcing a new Halo. Okay, they're not announcing a new Halo at E3. Doesn't mean there won't be a new Halo in 2018. But this heavily implies that there won't be a new Halo in 2018. So I'm glad. I'm really glad. Let your franchises breathe. Like you don't have to. Not everything has to be annualized. People, good gracious. So yeah, hearing this because I thought it was a foregone conclusion. We're gonna get a new Halo announced at E3 this year, and then we get a brand new Halo next year because we didn't have one last year. We're not having one this year. Unless you're counting Halo Wars, which I'm not.
Well,
so,
I think it's a big thing where it's like if they're saying that the Halo 6 won't be at E3 this year, for me this news means that they gotta have something big, right?
Yeah.
Now last year it was all about Gears 4, and I was like, ugh. I mean, like it was for people who liked Gears 4, that's fine, but it was like that wasn't really knocking my socks off. And the thing is that the games that I've been more interested that Microsoft was promoting have all kind of started to, go up in dust. You had Scalebound that got canceled, and then we have Phantom Dust that's kind of in limbo right now. Well, it's technically not in limbo, but it got changed because people thought it was going to be a sequel, and it's just a remaster. So that was a little bit disappointing. So I honestly if Microsoft wants to impress me, there's either two things I want to see. I want to see them take a franchise that they own that is actually loved by a good amount of people, but we haven't seen in a really, really long time, and revitalize it, or just a completely new IP that looks super, super, super interesting.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. That's and I was building up to get there, but you know me, I have to take the long road. So that's one of the things that excites me the most about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not getting Gears. We're not getting Gears at E3 this year. You know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit, but I'll be very surprised if they announced Gears 5 at E3 this year with Gears 4 coming out last year, right? Now they said they're not announcing a new Halo. They're gonna announce a new Forza because, you know, like we can only get so much. That's you know, that leaves a lot of room for so Crackdown 3. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't at E3 this year. They announced it a long time ago and they just haven't shown anything of it, right?
Right.
So I think Crackdown 3 is going to be at E3 this year. Then we're probably going to see a lot of Sea of Thieves, which is a new IP. Crackdown 3 is a franchise that, you know, we haven't really seen anything from, so I'm excited to see if they can take it to the next level with Crackdown 3. And then from there, the door is wide open. So we're probably going to see like a lot of Scorpio stuff, but then what are they going to do for the launch for Scorpio? You know, we might get, we could see exactly what you're asking for. We could see some new IPs. Hey, you know, maybe they reboot Fable.
That would be freaking, that would be bonkers if they rebooted Fable. I would be honestly, I would be so surprised if they did, considering the state of how Fable is as a franchise. But that would be interesting.
Yeah. You know, like Microsoft have some interesting franchises, and they have a lot of franchises that have potential that they've just, you know, they give up on franchises too early. You know, let's, you know, maybe see a second what's that game? You know, the really hipster game where you could like, was like Jet Set Radio, but you could like spray and all that stuff. Insomniac made it.
What was it called? Fuck. Oh my god, I'm drawing a blank. Damn it.
Sunset Overdrive.
Sunset Overdrive.
Maybe we see a sequel to Sunset Overdrive. I'd be down with that.
Yeah.
You know, you know, like obviously the reboot for Phantom Dust should be there. Maybe we get a sequel to Phantom Dust. They've got opportunities, but yeah, like this is their chance because like this last year. It started off well for Microsoft. They caught up. They outsold Sony a couple of months in a row. But then the end of last year and then the beginning of this year, especially this year, has not been kind to them. So they really, really need to
step up their game. Yeah.
Sorry?
They need to step up their game to a certain extent.
They need to step up their game. They need to come out and kick some ass because they were finally catching up to Sony, and then they chose the wrong time to, one, let their foot off the gas because while they were, you know, canceling Scalebound and not really releasing anything. I mean, they've only released one game this year. Sony, like, put their foot on the gas, released, like, a bunch of games.
Yeah. When you think about it, like, especially, like, you know, you got Horizon, that's an exclusive. Nier Automata came out as well.
Nier, Neo, Persona, Gravity Rush, and Horizon. You mentioned Horizon,
yeah,
right?
Horizon. But but still, those are like 4 really well-selling games that were all exclusive that came out all at once.
Exactly.
For Sony. And then, like, when you look at Microsoft's side, I don't think they really had any really big-name exclusives that came out in the last couple months.
Pretty much just Halo Wars, right? Yeah. So yeah, let's Microsoft, this is your chance. Come out and show that, you know, you're not messing around. You're not just gonna roll over because people are already like writing Microsoft off and saying that the Switch is really Sony's only competitor now. And so, you know, Microsoft, y'all need to come out and prove people wrong.
I'm wrong.
This E3 is gonna be big. I think this E3 might be do or die for Microsoft. You know, maybe do or die is exaggerating a little, but I think this E3 is really big. It's really big for Microsoft.
You know what I think it is that I would say, you know what I'd be very interested to see if Microsoft does? Because right now, I would say Sony front-loaded this year super crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like, this year was front-loaded. But not even just by Sony's perspective from, like, a gaming perspective, but for Sony especially. So I would be very interested to see they come out swinging and they're like, okay, you know, you guys had the first half of the year, we're taking the second half, and they have a bunch of really cool, interesting titles that are all going to be coming out in the second half of the year because it's looking pretty dry, at least just from what I can see from Sony. So that would be the time. That would be the time for them to drop some really big name titles.
Yeah. So let's see. You know, let's see what you got. Let's see what you got, Microsoft. And this is a step in the right direction, which is ironic, which is funny for me to say because this announcement is them confirming that a game won't be showing up at E3, and I'm like, this is good news.
Well, it's good news in the sense where it's like we know another, because for us, we can't get excited by Halo, at least
No.
not anymore, because there's been so many. So it's like for us, them announcing Halo 6 at E3 would not exactly be a showstopper. Like,
No, I don't
and
think so.
if anything, we don't want them to like use 20 minutes showing Halo 6 footage when they could be using it to show off something else.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, this is the first step, a step in the right direction. Let's see what else you got. Let's see what else you got, Microsoft. One developer who's trying to improve another developer trying to improve the public perception is Sega. So Sega recently ported Bayonetta and Vanquish, two critically acclaimed but really old games, to PC. I'm guessing people have been asking for this for a while,
Yes.
and they've been teasing Bayonetta 3, and they've also been teasing, not teasing, they announced that they're trying to bring back a bunch of dormant IPs. Now, off the top of my head, I can't really think of any like dormant IPs that Sega would be trying. I mean, unless you count I guess Sonic is technically dormant. But
No, not from Sega's perspective. We consider Sonic dormant, but Sega's perspective, it's not. I would be it'd be very interesting to see what they end up choosing. But yeah, no, honestly, I think it's good. Vanquish and Bayonetta being ported, because like honestly, allowing better frame rate for those games especially is killer. Like that's a killer thing to have. And honestly, that also means them ending up on Steam, which means guess what? Steam sales will probably come around, and those games will be dropped down super cheap. So then you can get them for even cheaper, and those will be good games to buy at low prices for sure.
Yeah, what I'd like to see is Virtua Fighter. Virtua Fighter, just give us a port. Like, it's funny because right now in Yakuza 6, you can play the most recent version of Virtua Fighter. If you buy Yakuza 6 for the PS4, there's an option, because you know how you can go to the arcades. You know how Yakuza is always been about the mini games. One of the mini games that you can play is Virtua Fighter. So like that is currently the only way to play Virtua Fighter on a PS4.
Right.
However, it's a proper. I would buy a proper Virtua Fighter port in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah, if they did, because I think when they did that poll, I think Virtual Fighter was up there. There's a lot of people like gnawing at the teeth for a new Virtual Fighter, or even like a remaster or anything really. So yeah, that'd be very interesting. But overall, I think this is overall good news. I mean, if you haven't picked up either of these games, I can vouch for Bayonetta. For sure. Bayonetta's a friggin' great game. I mean, it's got a really, really stupid over-the-top story, but it's a really, really good game.
Yeah, just do what I did and skip the cutscenes.
I'm gonna say this. If you really don't want to see some hilarious, like, knee slapper cutscenes for how bad they are, then skip the cutscenes if you don't want any joy in your life. So there. That would be my recommendation. God, because like, to be fair, you skipping the cutscenes led to probably one of the funniest moments on the entire channel.
Oh, when I'm like, oh wait, her name is what?
Cereza, and me screaming at you. You would know that if you watched any of the cutscenes.
Now, in my defense, I don't know if I told you how I started skipping Bayonetta cutscenes. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this, but I was playing the game, and my grandmother comes and she sits down with me while we're playing, right?
Right.
Yeah, and then there's this one enemy that shows up. I can't remember what she's called, but she's like she's Bayonetta. She looks just like Bayonetta, and then the two of them are doing like, they're doing like a dance off, and then she does like her moves, and she like lays down and spreads her legs, and I'm like, oh, that is enough of that. So I just skipped to that.
I remember you talking about that, and I think my response was, why the hell would you play Bayonetta when your grandmother's watching? If my grandma walked down the stairs and I had Bayonetta on, I would turn off my console and switch to something else. Like, there is no way in hell.
Well, you see, in my situation, all I did was miss a bunch of corny ass cutscenes. And hey, all of us, oh sure, I don't know what her real name is. Yeah, I still
But you missed some of the funny. Oh, there's so many funny cutscenes in that game, though. Oh my god. You know, I guess for me, it's like I turned around where I thought, oh, these scenes are super corny. But then I started to love how super corny they got because it just amped it up every time. So it became like, okay, what ridiculous, stupid thing is gonna happen in this cutscene? So, but yeah, no, to each his own. To each his own. But still,
Yeah.
Vanquish, Bayonetta, get them now. They're on the PC.
Yeah.
Our last piece of news is Overwatch anniversary event confirmed to no one's surprise.
I love how this was like a headline, and we're criticizing the people for saying this is news while we're covering this as news. So hey,
We're not hypocrites.
Pot kettle, all that good stuff. But yeah, it was just funny when I saw this. I'm like, the second they announced the event, the World Cup event, the Summer Games event last year, I was like, there's gonna be an event on the 26th of May. So people data mined, and it's okay. Now, to be fair, I knew there was gonna be something on the 26th. I just wasn't sure what.
Yeah.
So now I have more of now we have more of an idea. It's going to be an actual event, because I thought maybe it would be a character, that there could be that too, but no, it's going to be an event. We don't know what the event is going to be yet, but we know it's coming. And people data mined it, and they found that a couple of characters are going to get cosmetics that have been confirmed to get cosmetics. So Orisa and Sombra are getting their sit laugh emotes. Keep in mind, this stuff isn't 100% confirmed, but okay, so they data mined it, and then they looked through the code, and in the code you could see Orisa has 3 emotes currently, plus 2 that are coming in the event. Same with Sombra. And Blizzard have already said that Sombra's getting her sit and her laugh emotes at the next content update. So 2 and 2 together. There we go. And then the fact that Orisa's getting 2 as well, people just assume she's getting her sit and her laugh. Tracer's getting an emote because heaven forbid an event goes by and Tracer doesn't get anything. The other people are speculating because they've said that Hanzo's getting a couple of skins this year, and so I'd be very surprised if Hanzo didn't get a legendary. They said Zarya's getting some stuff because Zarya's been sort of left behind, so I'd be very surprised if she didn't get anything. And but that's all we have right now. One thing that was interesting that I think that people are speculating about, they don't know what to think. So they look through the code, right?
Right.
And in the code, there's a line for rare loot that you can get, which is 50, I think.
Yeah.
There's a line for epic, which is 150, and there's a line for legendary, which is 500. Then there's another line for so we're getting for something that's coming in the event. So people are like, are we getting a new type of currency in the event? Something that's above legendary, or some people are saying that they might finally give us the ability to disenchant old skins. Oh my god,
okay.
Man, like the speed with which I will disenchant all those Mercy and Torbjorn cosmetics.
It would be fast. I wonder if it also might be, maybe they might bring over what they've done in Heroes of the Storm, in which there's an option that when you open up a pack, if you just opened up a garbage pack, you can choose a fifth option. Let's say this option that allows you to re-roll the pack by spending gold. A small amount. So let's say you get a pack, you got 3 whites and a blue, you spend 25 gold, and you can re-roll that pack.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that would be very interesting. They would bring that over. Honestly, I would prefer the crafting system from Hearthstone, so I could get rid of some of the legendaries I know I'll never use, because I'm going to get rid of those fucking Widowmaker legendaries.
Yeah, same here. I have a bunch of Widowmaker legendaries. I'm never gonna play Widowmaker.
Yeah. So it's that would be a very interesting thing. Or I wonder, this would be even more insane, because you're saying that it's a 5th option, right? In the list. So it's like, epic, legendary, and then there's this option, right?
Yeah.
So the only other thing that I could think that they would do that I think would be insanity is the only other thing that's rarer than a legendary skin is a golden weapon. So if they started putting those in packs, that would be bonkers.
I don't want them to do that. No.
I don't. I like I said, I don't think that they would do that. But I'm trying to think what would be the one thing that would be more legendary, like the more rare than a legendary skin, and that's a golden weapon at the moment. So unless we're getting something else that is even rarer than that,
The other thing I'm thinking is that maybe because you know how you can get during a seasonal event, you can get a regular legendary and you can get a seasonal legendary, right?
right,
Maybe what they're gonna do is that they're gonna give you a regular legendary loot drop, which is 500, and then
right.
seasonal legendary loot drop, which is 1500. So that there's also that. I think that is a possibility because I mean how because getting 500 when you're trying to buy 3000 trying to buy a skin that costs 3000 it's not great. So yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, no, for sure, I could see that being a possibility. Yeah, no, but overall, I'm definitely excited. I'm very curious to see what they're gonna bring. It kind of sucks because I don't think I'm because I know that you complain about people getting not getting skins, but I still want a mercy skin. I always like getting more. But then again, there was an event that just happened where I got a new mercy skin, so I'd be fine if they decided to skip mercy in this.
And that's the other part about this thing that pisses me off, right? Is that when you like I said, I don't want any more Reinhardt skins. It's gotten to the point where like I messaged my little sister and I told her which one of my skins do you want me to use because I have way too many. At the end of the day, you can only wear one skin at a time, right?
Yeah.
So giving one character like Tracer 14 legendaries, it's funny because you sound like I'm exaggerating. I think, and I am, but I think she has like 8 legendaries now.
Yeah, I think she has 8 or around that at this point.
Yeah. So giving one character like Tracer 8 legendaries where you can only wear one at a time, it's just silly. Okay, so so I finally have one that I like, and then they give me a new one next week. Well, I can't wear that one. I'm not going to bother with that one. So it's just like let's spread it out. Hanzo needs love. Zarya desperately needs love. 76 needs love. Let's deal with these characters first before we start giving Tracer more skins, guys.
But anyway, I'm curious to see. I hope Hanzo gets some skins because they've been teasing that Hanzo's gonna get some really really good skins, and I hope that they deliver with that. With
Yeah,
like I mean like I don't like Hanzo players, but I still think Hanzo deserves skins because he deserves more cool shit.
yeah.
But before we wrap things up, we've got our question of the question from the day from the wonderful J Streets. Got those mixed up there. And his question is,
Shout out to J Street.
shout outs to J Streets. His question is, which do you like more, third person or first person shooters? Do you want me to take swing first or?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay, I kind of flip and flop because there's certain things that I like about, like, I like the fact that, first person shooters I can be more accurate with my shots, and sometimes it allows for very interesting camera angles and stuff like that. I tend to lean towards third-person shooters more because you can see your character. It allows for more. Well, it allows for a couple other things. It allows for more stuff they can do stuff with the screen and stuff like that they couldn't do from like a first-person perspective.
Yeah.
And the other thing, and I think this is my deciding factor, is that if I'm playing a shooter at all, and there are customized options, right? And I can't see my character, that sucks. That sucks 100% of the time. Like imagine if you were playing Fallout and there was no ability to look at your character, like in a
Or
third
like
person.
Overwatch, where you can't actually see all these skins that people have
Well,
made.
here's the thing about Overwatch. Overwatch actually has a slightly decent mix because there are characters that certain moves move the camera from a first-person perspective to a third-person perspective. So
Other
you
than Reinhardt,
Reinhardt, Zenyatta,
which move makes Zenyatta third person?
his ultimate.
Oh, I mean,
What do you mean, don't want it? That's still a good example.
you know what? Sure.
But no, I know. But that's the main reason is that like I like being able to see what my character's wearing. So I kind of lean towards third-person shooters, at least a little bit more than first-person. So I guess I would say I like third persons a little bit more. And also, I think the biggest problem I have with first person now is that first person has been done a lot.
Yeah.
Like it's been when we had a first person shooter season 2011. It was just a debacle, and every game was a first person shooter, and it got so tiring. So usually now I won't be as interested with a first person shooter unless it has some very interesting mechanic that doesn't really involve shooting. Like the I think the one first person shooter that's out right now that I'm very interested to play
Right.
is Prey. Yeah, Prey, because it looks really
Looks like
interesting.
Bioshock.
It looks like BioShock. Yeah. If I'm being perfectly honest, my one of my favorite first person shooters is BioShock. So yeah, so I guess that's my answer though. I would say I tend to like third person shooters more just because I can see my character. I like being able to see my character in games. But what about you, Fawaz?
I want to say first person shooters, but like it's not because I prefer like one perspective over the other. It's simply because I like when I think of when I think of first person versus third person shooters, I think of more first person shooters that I've played that you think of like the greatest games of all time, right? You think of
Yeah.
like GoldenEye, you think of Call of Duty 4, you think
Mm-hmm.
of Overwatch right now, right?
Right.
Versus when I think of third person shooters, I think of Gears of War,
Mm-hmm.
and that's pretty much it. You know,
Really?
like
I think of other games. I think of like Mass Effect. I think of
I mean,
Uncharted.
Mass Effect's an
I
RPG.
it's a shooter. It's still a shooter technically.
I
You
mean,
shoot.
because
Okay, what's the definition of a shooter in your eyes?
I mean, the issue for me is that our and the reason why I don't look at Mass Effect like a shooter, same with Fallout, is because the shooting mechanics are not very good in these games. You know, if you're judging these games based solely on their shooting mechanics, these are not very good games. You
Well, I
know,
mean,
like
I would argue that Mass Effect 3 and Andromeda have actually really good shooting
well,
mechanics.
I can't dispute that because I haven't
You
played
haven't
those
played
games,
them, yeah.
but
But
you
no,
know,
I guess
Mass
I see what you're coming from. Is that it's
Yeah,
not like
Mass
a
Effect
pure
1 Fallout.
shooter.
Like I'll never think of first person. Like I was listing my favorite first person shooters, and I didn't even list Fallout 3 because I don't consider Fallout 3 a first person shooter. You know, the shooting
Yeah,
mechanics in Fallout are terrible.
yeah.
Like you can literally shoot someone and not hit them because it like rolls a dice where you're shooting. The shooting mechanics are terrible. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think of like Skyrim as a first person shooter. But if we're including RPGs in the discussion, then okay, sure, then I'll add Skyrim and I'll add Fallout 3, and you know, like first person games I've just played more that are like that have just stuck with me longer, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So shit, I'm trying to think. Because if we're talking like proper shooters here, you know, no RPGs. We're talking about
Okay,
games
okay.
based on
Let's
shooting.
change. Let's change. Let's customize the question. Is that it's that we're not going to take the vague definition of shooter. If we're just talking about shooters in which all you do is shoot, like there's no
Yeah,
RPG mechanics, that's it. Just all you do is shoot. Then
I can't
yeah.
I can't think of many. Okay, you know, it's funny because okay, I'm actually gonna Google this because I mean, there's Uncharted, but I hate Uncharted. So
Yeah.
um I, third person shooter games. Let's see what we got. What we got. Okay, Resident Evil 4. That's a pretty good one.
Mm-hmm.
I quite like Resident Evil 4 and Vanquish, a game that we spoke about a
Yeah,
little while
Vanquish
ago,
is
is on
good.
this list too. But yeah, I'm looking at this list, and most of these games I don't like. Most of these games I don't like at all. Actually, I never played Max Payne. I didn't like Red Dead Redemption. I didn't like Grand Theft Auto 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Um, I love San Andreas, but I mean San Andreas is 12 years old. It's almost older than my little sister. So like Mass Effect is actually on this list.
See, I told you. I told you.
Dead Space, I do like Dead Space.
Dead
I like Dead
Space
Space.
is
I like
good.
Resident Evil 4. But like you know, like I'm looking at these games, right? And
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of these games I don't even like. I don't like Grand Theft Auto. I never played Max Payne.
Mm-hmm.
I like Dead Space, but I don't put Dead Space on the same level as like Call of Duty 4. You know,
Well,
like
this is where the question starts to get a little bit vague because it's like because there's a lot of games with shooting mechanics. You know,
yeah,
like you could like Dead Space. It's technically a third person shooter, but it's more of a third person shooter survival game.
yeah.
You
If
know,
I'm thinking of Dead Space, if I'm categorizing Dead Space, I'm categorizing it with horror games. Same with
Mhm.
Resident Evil 4, right?
Yeah,
Now, Resident Evil 4, I might give it a little bit of leeway because it's a lot of the things that third person shooters use now they took from Resident
the
Evil
original
4.
four.
So you
Yeah.
know I can give Resident Evil 4 a little bit of leeway, but Dead Space I'm never going to qualify Dead Space as a third person shooter. It's just you shoot in the third person perspective, but it's not a third person shooter. I don't like for me.
Oh, yeah. It's weird when we say stuff like that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
but
it's like you shoot in the third person perspective, but it's not a third person shooter.
I just but you get what I mean, right?
I get what you mean, but it always when we say it like that, it comes off as a little bit weird.
Yeah, it does. And, if someone wants to qualify it as like if you want to qualify like Mass Effect 3 and Andromeda as third person shooters, I feel like you can. I will never let you qualify Mass Effect 1 as a third person shooter, because as a third person shooter, it's a terrible game. Like the shooting mechanics in that game are just not good. But I watching Andromeda gameplay, like the shooting mechanics in that looked good. They looked really good. They looked smooth. So if you want to be like Andromeda and 3 are third person shooters, then I'm not going to disagree with you on that. But for me, when I think of legendary games, most of them are first person shooters, games that I loved, right?
Yeah.
The only third person shooter looking at this list that stuck with me: Resident Evil 4, Gears of War 2. I didn't like Gears of War 1. I never finished 3. Mass Effect never played. Never finished Red Dead Redemption. I've said enough about Uncharted. The Rainbow Six games, I never touched them.
Oh,
And this
Last of
Rainbow
Us.
Six-
Last of Us would technically be a third person.
Last of Us, yeah, I'll give you Last of Us. I love Last of Us, but then then we come to that thing where I played Last of Us and it felt more like a horror game, right? Because you didn't even have a lot of ammo, so there wasn't a lot of actual shooting happening.
So I think I guess if we're limiting this to the only pure shooter genre, and it can't be a shooter and have a thing, then yeah, I would say first person would probably have the advantage. Absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
and they think of it, you think of Half-Life, right? You think of BioShock.
Yeah.
You think of Team Fortress. You think of Doom. You think of Quake.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like that when I think of first person shooters. You think of legendary games, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'm like, the reason why I lean more towards first-person shooters is because of that, right? Because like I said, when I think of first-person shooters, I think of games that are legendary, whose effects are still being felt to this day.
Oh yeah.
You think of Metroid Prime. For God's sake, even Nintendo got in on the action. That's when To be fair, to give third-person shooters, Splatoon's a really good third-person shooter. I mean, you're not shooting guns, but you're shooting.
Well, I would consider Splatoon a third-person shooter. Absolutely.
But yeah, like for me, I looked up top third person shooters, and Dead Space was one of the first things that came up. I looked up top first person shooters, and Half-Life 2 was one of the first things that came up, right? I think that should just show you the pedigree you're dealing with.
Oh,
I'm not entirely sure why. I think the reason why is because third person shooters, they're just so broad, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to qualify, because look at I mean, there's not a lot of first-person shooters that we've argued about. A lot of these games, they're first-person shooters, right? But with third-person shooters, because there's so many games that are set in the third person, and then once you give that character a gun. Then you could theoretically qualify it as a third-person.
It's more. I would say it's more of a genre problem than anything else. But like I said, I agree with you. If we're just limiting this to it has to just be a shooter and that's it, then first person would probably take it, at least from the library of old games. I guess for me, it's more like when I'm thinking of the difference between third person and first person, I'm more of the games that I tend to enjoy are in the third person than necessarily the first person. But I haven't played a lot of all the classic first person games, so there is that bias where it's I haven't played a lot of really classic, amazing first person games. So I've played more third person than first person. And I guess the other thing is because I saw that vapid drought in 2011 that sucked. It makes it whenever I say first person shooter, there's always a little bit of bittersweetness.
Yeah, you develop an animosity towards them because of what they've become now. You know?
I have to admit though, when you think about first person shooters now, I would say that it has died down a bit. It seems like people got the idea that, oh my god, we're tired of first person shooters now. It did hit us. So because now we're getting a lot better mix of games now. But no. But going back to J Street's question, for me, it's like if we're just limiting it to just shooters, that's it. Like it has to be a pure shooter. Then yeah, first person would probably take it. But for my preference, it's just that I like the big thing is like I like being able to see my character. Like I really
I can understand
that's
that.
a thing that I really hate about first person shooters is not being able to see my character and only being able to see my gun.
Yeah.
And that's why I like, just being able, that's why whenever I'm playing Overwatch, it's like I want to see my model, I'm going to hit the taunt button. I actually really, really appreciate that. Like that little feature, as little as it is.
One game I need to give a shout out to, because like I've spoken about this game on the podcast before, but I don't speak about it enough. It's Unreal Championship 2: The Leandri Conflict, one of the best third person shooters ever made, in my humble opinion. Blah 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 blah. Screw that. One of the best third person shooters ever made, and one of the most underrated games ever released on the Xbox. So hey, maybe Microsoft gives us a new Unreal Championship at E3 this year.
Maybe that's what they're building up for. They're like, screw that Halo shit. It's all about Unreal.
No joke. If they give us a new Unreal Championship, I'm gonna start saving up for an Xbox One. Like straight up. That is how much I loved this game. That is how much I love this game to this day. And just looking at all this artwork, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart that I'm never gonna play another version of this game. But yeah, I just want to give a shout out to that game. That is one of my favorite third person shooters of all time, if not my favorite third person shooter of all time. But yeah, first person shooters still take the cake for me personally.
Okay, cool. But yeah, no, great question, J Streets. And thanks. Yeah, shout outs to J Streets. And if you've got a question, make sure to leave it in the comment section. We'll make sure to answer it in the next podcast. And as always, this is your host, Ring Liberty, and
Fawaz Muhammad Yusuf.
And we'll see you guys next time. Take care.